Thank God for the wake up. Thank God for the wake up. Thank God for the wake up. God morning and good morning. My name is Luis Lopez, and you're listening to Talking Cancer, my journey, my way. I too am living with what the doctors say is stage 4 metastatic colorectal cancer. Currently, I'm under no treatment at this particular moment. Um, as my body has, some weird. I wouldn't say weird. That's the wrong word. But you know, chemo doesn't work well for me. Um, have a especially being that I almost died from chemo poisoning the last time I attempted. Um, so it has me on a different venture at this particular moment. Being nervous to do it again, one, and two, wanting to preserve the quality of my life versus the quantity. And with that, as I start to um, look into different things, different types of the modalities, or even seeing if they have, just doing my own research as far as different things that people offer, and as far as healing, or as far as treatments and things like that. So, the first thing I found is holistic, and the vast improvement improvements that your body can make by focusing on your nutrition, focusing on your exercise, focusing on your mental well-being, focusing on your spiritual well-being, um, and how this changes has a dramatic change on your body's chemistry, and how it reacts to the tumor, giving or to your cancer, giving your body a better chance at fighting by looking at the things that we are putting into our body. That was first, and then I started looking into other modalities, as far as um, cryotherapy, um, acupuncture, just a lot of different things. And the crazy thing about it all is that they're all beneficial. Cryotherapy. I mean, especially if you have the financials to take care of this, and a lot of people put themselves in debt to try and experiment with all these different things, because for some people it works and some people it don't. Um, I don't know why that is, and it could be that some people have made those tragic changes in their nutrition and health and all that stuff, and said, you know what, I'm gonna dedicate my life to this, and then you have other people that are just like, hey, I'm just gonna go do it, but I want to continue living the way I'm living. So that could be very much a possibility. And then there's other places that deal a lot with your nutrition, and teaching you how to eat, and teaching you how to exercise, and get your lymph nodes moving, and so on and so forth. So you definitely got to look into places. Um, Brzezinski is a place as well that deals with different types of advancements, but also with no um, side effects. Now, for him, in his clinic, it's out in Texas, I believe. They have they don't accept insurance, and his prices are pretty up there. But from what I understand, they're trying to silence him or whatever. But they say he has results. But once you kind of go there, a lot of because it's not covered by insurance. He's not with the FDA and all that other stuff. But once you start going that route, and you find out, hey, it's for you, great. If you find out if it's not for you, being that you went that route and seen somebody else outside of the medical realm, and he's medical all day, but inside of regulatory realm, then you start having problems with insurance and being covered and all these things because you went and seen somebody else. So it's definitely a catch-22 to all of that. So be aware. Um, you also have I was looking, because you definitely need to be aware of things. Now, definitely, and there's definitely questions that I need to ask, and like why don't we try other things if these things don't work or whatever. But when you go to the doctor, they are so quick to say, hey, because this is the way we're going, chemo, blah 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 blah, radiation, blah 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 blah, and it's pretty. If it feels to me, I can't say for sure, but it feels to me like a standard, the standard protocol. Um, when in all actuality, the cancer for everybody is not the same. And from what I'm understanding, you need to treat cancer on an individual basis. And, people are starting to understand that. And that's some of the reason why I like Stand Up to Cancer a lot, is because they think out of the box, and they're going through the right channels to stay afloat here, what I mean, without the lashback from the FDA and things like that. So, they're kind of working in conjunction, but they're pushing the envelope, and with them, starting off with that, with immunotherapy that actually seems to be very, very effective when it comes to treating cancer, and especially treating cancer in its early stages. Now, sometimes when you're out here, like for me, and I get to thinking, and I'm like, okay, well, if I'm in a later stage, obviously, but I was in a stage 3 at one point as well. So, um, why, and especially with side effects and stuff like that, why aren't different options presented to you? And not only that, but if you know that, hey, this person not reacting well to his treatment plan, da 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 da, or his treatment, um, why not give them the option to say, hey, you know what, you're terminal anyways. Why don't we try immunotherapy? I it's something that I haven't asked the doctor, but what I did ask, and I kind of settled for a response. I did ask him. He was just like, "Oh no, it's too late. We just do that in the beginning." But the more and more I dive into the into this cancer world, the more and more I find out, and the more and more questions I start to ask, and like, well, I start to ask myself first of all, and then hopefully when I have my next appointment, I can ask more questions and things like that. Um, but what the doctor did tell me is that, okay, hey, this will be your next step in regards to treatment. Because we're just gonna try to keep you whatever, try to keep you, suppress the cancer and keep you alive as long as possible. He was like, but no matter what we give you, your body could say, hey, this isn't for me. It's not doing anything for the cancer cells, not killing anything, it's not holding anything back, it's not slowing it down. Let's try another treatment. And you go through these treatments or whatever, and then after you've exhausted all the treatments, then you could get into the trials. You don't qualify for the trials until you go through all the other stuff, you know, which I find weird because I'm terminal, you know, and if there are alternatives, I believe that a person should have an option of whether he wants to go straight past go collect $200, you know. Um, so, those are my thoughts on that. Just, like I said, I mean, the doctor himself said there is no cure for me. There's no hope for me. The only thing that they could do is prolong, but the quality of life is suspect, you know. So why not jump that person straight to the front of the line? His body didn't react well. Now he's scared. Now he's nervous, whatever. And give him the option of new clinical trials. And even with clinical trials, it's weird too because they just don't give it to you. They put you with other people, whatever, basically, and say there's 10 people. They don't treat all 10 people with the clinical trial. They treat all the people, but they treat some of them with something, regular stuff. They treat some people with the conventional, some people with nothing, and then some people with the clinical. Then, and you don't know which one you got. Because they want to see the different how it reacts, in different people, and I don't get that either because haven't you tried this stuff on other people already? The conventional stuff on people already, so you know how people react. So just give me the damn clinical. The steps are just weird. But anyways, there are different things, and there are different things in other countries you could definitely dive into. Um, but there are also stuff here, and like I was stating earlier, immunotherapy is one of them. And if you could, make sure that you ask about those things because they're they're quicker to push on the conventional way of treating chemo versus immuno. Um, but I would ask about that first. If you know somebody that's in early stages, hey, I want to know more about immunotherapy first. Less invasive, less side effects, if any side effects at all. Um, and I mean, not only that, but I mean, you also have this other thing called SEF chemotherapy out of Berkeley. Now, I don't know if it's for colon cancer or whatever, um, but it's called SEF chemotherapy. Um, and they claim that for the first time in history that they're putting odds in favor of the patient. They claim it's a medical revolution in modern medicine with side effect free chemo. The patients are able to receive a therapy with statistically unprecedented results without the negative side effects experienced during traditional chemo treatments. So yeah, I mean, just something like that alone, and making these claims. Um, and this is at the Berkeley Institute International. So definitely, check that out. I will probably be, try to dive more into that as well, and find out where I'm going from here. Uh, I know that the my nutrition, mental state, spiritual state is at its highest priority. Because I know at the end of the day, these things are having good, and what's it called, just good things in my body are going to help my cells regenerate well and put my body into a fighting state. So I need to keep that going no matter what else I may think of. But I haven't really put, once I went with nutrition, um, and my spiritual belief in God for my healing, I haven't really dove into a lot of other options, you know, but they're making advancements all the time. So, I'm looking at things now from a different perspective, and just trying to stay abreast of things. And who knows, maybe there is something out there for me, something that will be um, less evasive, um, not compromise, and not strip me of all my uh, life, because that's what chemo really truly does. It just strips you of everything that's going on in your body. So, yeah, I mean, the latest research, from cancer.net is improved detection methods. They have developed that. Researchers are developing tests to analyze stool samples to find genetic changes associated with colorectal cancer. By finding and removing polyps or identifying cancer early, doctors have a better chance of curing the disease. Um, this stuff is it's a lot of information, to say the least. So you definitely have to take time, um, and just continue to just find your research. Do your research, and find out what is best for you. Uh, a lot of, like I said, you're gonna get a lot of pushback um, from insurances. They don't cover this. They don't cover that. Um, and if you're financially able, there's so many things that you're able to go try. You know, but if you're not, and you're depending on um, your insurance, you're gonna have a lot of out of pocket expenses. So be aware of that. You know, these things are definitely uh, things to look at. You also have I actually had found out about them a little late during my first diagnosis when I was stage 3, And even at that stage, my tumor was huge. It was pretty big, probably almost the size of a tennis ball. And when you start, like for me, when you start the process, in my case, conventional treatments, it usually starts off for colorectal or whatever. Starts off with radiation, some chemo, and then a little break, and then you go into chemo, like the infusions. Well, with the radiation, that's huge too. Because radiation that's no joke. That's a laser going into you and obliterating anything. Like it's like it hits the tumor, kills the tumor, but then it kills a radius all around the tumor. And one thing I found out when I started looking towards a second opinion and things like that or whatever, it was after I did the first round of radiation. So now I have this scar tissue. Um, but then I found this place called California Proton. And I paid out of pocket for evaluation. Um, Gave them went and got my records, went and got my images and all that stuff like that. Took it to them, and they're based here in San Diego. And they actually specialize in like targeted radiation. Targeted radiation is something, obviously by the name, it targets the radiation without having such a large impact on all the things around it. You know what I mean? It's very specific. Now, had I known about them earlier, see, these are the things that people don't tell you. It's like, had I known about them earlier, because they always want to keep the money in house too. But had I known about them earlier, I could have had an option to have done that type of radiation first before I did the other type, conventional radiation, I'm going to call it. But the targeted radiation would have did less damage to everything around. It's like, you have two bombs. And I think I've used this description before, but you have two bombs. One is set off, boom, and yeah, there's some destruction around it, but very mild. But then you have an atomic bomb, boom, and it clears out everything miles and miles and miles around. The circumference of where you drop the bomb to where all the areas that it affected afterwards is totally different versus the regular bomb. So targeted radiation is definitely something I believe people should look into in order to shrink the size of the tumor or just deal with killing the tumor itself. And but once you have the conventional, they won't do the targeted after that, for the simple fact of the scar tissue that is there. So yeah, so these are just different things, um, you know, that people should definitely look into. As a matter of fact, um, I have, let me see, even a friend of mine who's going through breast cancer actually sent me some information, um, about targeted chemotherapy, being able to kill all solid tumors in preclinical research. Scientists from the City of Hope, as a matter of fact. So I hear a lot about the City of Hope. I like them. You know, they're very their outlook on things are very positive. Um, so that's pretty awesome. So the City of Hope develops developed investigational small molecule selectively disrupts DNA replication and repair in cancer cells. And so this was published back in August of 2023. So thank you, Crystal. I appreciate that. Um, so City of Hope is one of the largest cancer researches and treatment organizations in the United States. So, and they do a lot of help and do a lot of research in cancer, just in general. Um, and definitely have a good reputation on, you know, thinking outside of the box. So so phase one, let me see, hold on. Let me see. Most targeted therapies focus on single pathways which enable the wily cancer to mutate and eventually become resistant. So, you know, cancer is very, very smart and becomes very resistant to treatments. That's why they have to constantly keep on treating things, and you know, once you absorb, exonerate all of those avenues, then you're eligible for clinical. And I'm like, shoot me straight to the clinical. I don't know what the side effects are. I don't know nothing, but I mean, that probably would have been my original thought process had I known anything about any of the different um, options. Options one, and there's so many more, and I'm gonna write a list down for you as I want to dive more into this topic of options for you and for me. So until then, let me go ahead and put some stuff together, comprise some stuff together, and go from there. I definitely appreciate your time. If you wish to go ahead and reach out to me, please do so. Um, Cancer, my journey, my way at gmail.com. That's Cancer, my journey, my way at gmail.com. If you would love to be a guest on my show, please submit um, something. As I'm working on my website and to go from there and have people, you know, reach out through the web. Again, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Love you. Peace, love, and one.